Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I believe it was American poet Whitney Houston who once said, and I quote, "I believe the children are the future." Or in our case, the children are the futures. And we're betting the children, we're betting the futures on college football again this week. Man, it's almost go time. Welcome to the Degenerates Next Door. We talk all things dude. We drink, we fart, we eat, we talk about chicks, and yes, we gamble. And Rob Kendall, former elected official, tax-cutting machine, is alongside of me. I'm Jason Hammer. Rob, this time next week, we will have meaningful college football games to bet on. Some matchups pretty good, some fall in the degenerate category, but we are 1 week away from making wagers with the spreads and the totals and the props, baby.
You ever have the moment that I have when you're watching college football? Like at least once a game, they'll go to, like usually it's the quarterback on the sidelines, and it's some 18-year-old kid. And you ever a moment where you pause and you go, my financial future depends on that? Because you see him with the helmet on, you kind of lose track of the fact that they're 18, 19 years old. But then you see him, and you're just like, this is a child.
And you think about the things that we did at that age.
Yeah.
And now imagine somebody's financial future is riding on the amount of booze and amorous activity that I've had the night before.
Yeah, and that's why I always chuckle with, like, last year, remember when those kickers were missing every kick and costing you game after game?
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was, like, internally was chuckling, like, it's a college kid. He's an idiot.
Nobody had a worse run of bad breaks that I had last year.
Right out of the gate.
The bad beats were rolling on your boy.
From the start, from the very beginning.
From the opening game, missing 20-yard field goals, missing extra points, like it just continued.
But this is why it's funny to me, because if I took Gomer or whatever the kid's name was, and I introduced you to him at a Walmart, you would look at yourself and go, I bet money on that? But because he puts a uniform and a helmet on, we're like, he must be pretty good.
Well, if he's getting NIL money, like even the kicker from Minnesota is probably getting some sort of money. If you're getting paid, Rob, I don't think it's asking too much to make a 20-yard field goal.
Yeah, but the kid works at the Walmart is getting paid too. Do you have any faith in him? If he tells you what aisle you're supposed to find something on, do you really have faith that if you go there, it's going to be there?
Well, after that game last year, opening game, I had a lot more faith in the Walmart kid than I did the Minnesota kicker. So that's coming next week. But what we're doing today, it's round 2, electric boogaloo of college football future bets, okay? And today, it's go big or go home. We gave you some future bets last week. But today, we're talking national champion, we're talking Heisman Trophy winner, and a dark horse to make the college football playoff. Because right now, if you look at the odds, let's say you're going to FanDuel, and you're looking at the odds of teams to make the college football playoff, there's a lot of negative numbers there.
That's right.
A lot of negative numbers. There's a good chance Texas, Ohio State, they're going to make the college football playoff. So you're not going to find any sort of value there. It's almost not even worth your time.
That's right.
But there are some teams that if you're willing to ride the lightning and take a chance, you could benefit financially. So let's start with this, Rob. Let's start with a team that's out there that nobody is expecting to make the college football playoff, but has got really good odds, and you think they can make a run.
Okay, I want to preface this by saying you stole the team that I would have picked, and I want to pick the same team as you. I think it's like getting the draft in Little League. You got the number 1 pick, and you got the best kid. You took the kid that I would have taken. So I just want to preface that I think you have a very good bet with what you're about to tell everybody. Me, I'm going to go with IU. First of all, because it's fun. We're here in Indiana. They're the local team. They were a Cinderella story last year. Right now on FanDuel, you can get them for plus 590. So pretty decent odds. for a payout for a team that made the tournament last year.
And even though they got down early, like 2 touchdowns to Notre Dame in that playoff game, like in the first 5 minutes, honestly, other than Ohio State, IU played Notre Dame, a finalist team, better than anybody else.
Other than that directional school Notre Dame lost to.
I mean, in the college football playoff.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, no, absolutely. On paper, so a couple reasons with IU. One, they're the local team, but from a logistics perspective, there's only 2 games on paper that I look at IU's schedule, even though they're in the Big Ten. They play at Oregon and at Penn State. And by the way, Penn State is one of those teams that seems like they goof away a game every year that they should win. Maybe that's IU.
And they can't beat Ohio State or Michigan.
That's right. You never know what you're going to get with old Jimmy Franklin.
Big game James.
Big game James. Remember last year when David and I bet on the Ohio State-Penn State game, and he was just like, I was like, Penn State was getting 3.5 or something. I was like, it's at home. Sure, they keep it within 3.5. He's like, ha, 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 ha.
Oh, Rob, you and your drugs.
Anyway, so they play at Oregon, at Penn State. Okay, if you take those 2 as losses, on paper, I feel like the rest of IU's games, I think they have a better quarterback than they had last year. I think the guy they're bringing in, who knows?
The Cal transfer.
Yeah, he seems like he's pretty darn good. And the other thing about IU, they've gotten smart to how the game's played. Their non-conference schedule, those teams, they all stink. So that gives you 3 weeks, 3 whole weeks to iron out all the kinks, find out who's good, find out who's bad, find out who needs screamed at. They're going to start 3-0. All they got to do is go 7-2 in the Big Ten. And no way if you're 10-2 in the Big Ten, you're not getting in. I like IU plus 590.
So for Indiana, it comes down to, can you pull off one of those wins that you're not supposed to get? That's Penn State, that's Oregon. Can you beat Iowa? Can you beat Illinois? Because they're the other teams that people are talking about that should be better this year. So that's what it's going to come down to the Hoosiers. And what was the value?
Plus 590.
Plus 590. I like it. All right, so I texted you this the other night. This is the team that I like, even though their schedule on the back end is a steel-toed boot kick to the crotch.
Yeah, it's bad.
But if they, just like Indiana, can just lose 2 with this schedule, I think they're in the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, and I want to point out one other thing. I look at sports betting as buying cheap entertainment. The longer your team stays in the fray, the games becomes just free money at that point, right? Like you're still getting value in watching the games. With South Carolina, all their stuff is like at the end, isn't it?
So they have an opener that's against Virginia Tech. And you never know what you're going to get with the Hokies, right? Since Beamer Ball has decided to retire, the Hokies haven't really been the same. But opening day, they might circle the wagons. I want to see how South Carolina acts as a favorite now. But plus 525.
Yeah, that's good.
I love their defense. I mentioned Beamer Ball. They've got a Beamer as their head coach, Shane Beamer, the son of the old man.
His loser kid.
Loser kid's got a really good defense at South Carolina. South Carolina this year is going to be what Tennessee was a year ago. They're going to have a mobile quarterback that I think is really good. They're going to have a strong defense, and if they can ground and pound their way and get enough out of that quarterback, I think they're going to be good, and I think they will be good. I like the quarterback. I like Lenoris Sellers, plus 525 for South Carolina to sneak in. But here's the deal. Look, Fat, here's the deal. So they're going to open up. Technically, it's a neutral site game in Atlanta against Virginia Tech, okay? Then after that, okay, gimme game, Vanderbilt. It really picks up October 11th at LSU. That is one of, I think, just 2 games on their schedule. They will not have the better quarterback on the field. I think Nussmeier's the better quarterback. Counting a loss at LSU. And then they follow that with Oklahoma. I think they can beat Oklahoma. Bama, I think that's a loss. At Ole Miss, you can beat Ole Miss this year. Jackson Dart's not running out of that tunnel. At Texas A&M, tough game, tough place to play, but you can win that game. And then you've got Coastal Carolina win, and the rivalry game to end the year, Clemson. South Carolina and Clemson is going to have a lot on the line at the end of the year. Clemson, people think they can win a national championship. South Carolina, rivalry game. They went toe-to-toe with them last year at Clemson, came down to the final play. And, man, South Carolina's better this year. They got home field advantage.
You and I, we'll get to this in a second, we're going to be on opposite sides on that game, and so that'll be a fun one.
Okay, so give me South Carolina. I like the quarterback. I like the defense. It's a murderer's row schedule on the back end, but like your Indiana pick, if they can lose just 2, and I think it's at LSU and it's Alabama, I think their toes are tapping. All right, before we get to our natty, let's go Heisman Trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Heisman Trophy. It's no fun to bet the favorite. No. It's never any fun. You see Nussmeier, you see Arch Manning as the overwhelming favorites here, Rob.
Does anybody know if Arch Manning's even any good?
We're going to find out.
He's the number 1 pick. I saw him last year play a couple times. He didn't look like a world beater in the brief times he was out there.
We're going to find out. He's got the keys to the car this year. And opening day, oh, by the way, you're at Ohio State.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right. Look, I'm taking a long shot on this one because, like you said, it's no fun to bet the favorites. I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame. Right?
Oh, you homer.
Well, listen to this. Okay?
You picked Indiana and you've picked a Notre Dame guy. You homer.
Look, listen, just hear me out on this. You can get him right now at plus 4,500, so 45-1. If you bet $3 on the guy, you could win over $100. Okay, so we're
go on.
Yeah, okay, so the $135 with the $3 bet. Last year, now he got hurt at the end of the year, so they kind of went with that running back by committee thing. But last year in the games he played, 6.9 yards per rush. 1,125 rush yards for the year, 17 rushing touchdowns. Now, here's the deal. The nation's going to see every game this guy plays. Notre Dame doesn't have a great QB, so they don't have to worry about some guy throwing for 400 yards a game. Their defense is excellent. He should get plenty of runs. And if Notre Dame is really good this year, then he'll be right at the tippy top. Everyone's going to be talking about him. 45-1. What do you have to lose?
So, opening day, they've got the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
If he has a big game, if Notre Dame can pull that one off, he's on the national stage, right?
That's right.
And you're not going to get odds better than you're going to get right now, 45-1.
Now, we all know since I'm taking him, it'll be 5 rushes, 15 yards, pulled hamstring. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, not a lot of running backs, win the Heisman these days. But think back to last year. You had Genty at Boise State. This dude was making a run at the thing. He was top 5, and that was Boise State. Now, imagine what the marketing machine of Notre Dame can do. And like you say, Rob, every single game is on national television.
Yeah, and they'll know, like you said, after 2 or 3 games where he's at and whether he's got a shot or not. And I think Notre Dame's going to be good enough that they'll be in contention to get in the tournament. So 45-1. If it weren't Notre Dame, I wouldn't take him. But, hey, 45-1. Let's roll. Jeremiah Love.
So I think the guys in the Big Ten are all going to, guys in the SEC are all going to cannibalize themselves. Nussmeier's probably the best quarterback. Arch Manning's really good. Sellers is really good. DJ Lagway at Florida, all really good. They're all going to just beat the hell out of each other. All those teams are going to have a couple losses, I think. So I'm looking at the Big Ten because I think the Big Ten is down this year. Everybody's drinking the Penn State Kool-Aid. Oh, this is the year. Big game James. They're bringing everybody back. The quarterback, they're going to make a run. I like Ohio State. And it's not because I love Ryan Day. Ryan Day is one of the great villains, I think, in college sports. He feuds with old Lou Holtz. Like, who gets into a fight with an old man? It's like Happy Gilmore picking the fight with Bob Barker.
Your guy, Mr. T, Clubber Lang.
Right. Shut up, old man. I ain't going anywhere. That's Ryan Day at Ohio State. And think about what he does when he thinks somebody's trying to get squirrely with him. Remember when they played the Hoosiers last year and Coach Signetti, he's kind of popping off at the mouth. He's trying to let everybody know Indiana's here to play. And at the end of the game, instead of just taking the knee, Ryan Day punches another one in the end zone.
Yeah, he did.
Just to send the message out.
Yeah, he did.
So that's why I want a Buckeye here. And Jeremiah Smith, their wide receiver, he's their playmaker. We're both on Jeremiah's here.
Yeah.
But give me Jeremiah Smith. It's plus 1,000. I like that. That's
10-1.
10-1.
Yeah.
10-1. And if given the opportunity to put a 40-burger up or another ball in the end zone, Ryan Day is going to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's tired of hearing about how he can't beat Michigan. He's tired of hearing that this is Penn State's conference to lose. The dude won a natty last year, and remember what he did with those quarterbacks. Now, the quarterback play is going to be key. It's a new gunslinger in Ohio State, but Smith is one of those cats where you could throw a 5-yard slant, and he can catch that and go to the house.
Yep.
And I think the Big Ten is down just a little bit, so give me Jeremiah Smith at 10-1.
I like it.
Now, national champion. This is where we're going to hopefully get a year's worth of entertainment out of this. Rob Kendall, who you got?
The SEC and the Big Ten, it's so hard because they're so good. And I'm saying, as we saw last year with Notre Dame, if you can just get in the thing,
right,
you can go on a run and you can get there, right? It doesn't matter whether you're a one, I mean, it does in the sense of with the buys and all that other stuff. But if you're just in it, you got a shot. So I'm going to the ACC. And I remember I told you that South Carolina-Clemson game, we're going to be on opposite sides. I'm going with Clemson at 11-1. Here's why. Cade Klubnik. Remember how we're like, you shouldn't invest in college kids? Cade Klubnik.
You're investing in a kid named Cade.
He's ESPN's preseason first-team All-America quarterback, 43 touchdowns last year. He's got an awesome coach. Sure, the guy's annoying, kind of an internet meme, but great coach. He's got all his dudes back at wide receiver from last year, and there's multiple second or third-team All-Americans on defense. They've only got 3 games against preseason ranked teams. Now, the first one is the big one, LSU. But if they can win that one, even if they lose it, 2 losses probably get you in the tourney, and that'll probably win the ACC. Once you're in, anything can happen. I'm going with Clemson at 11-1.
11-1 Clemson.
Cade Klubnik, let's go!
All right. Look, the SEC did not win the national championship last year. They did not make the national championship game last year.
Not.
What are the chances that the best football league in America does not at least make it back to the national championship game this year? I don't think it's very good. And I think Texas is the best team in the SEC. I'm looking at Texas here, plus 650. I think this is really good value for a team that probably has the advantage on the line of scrimmage every single game. Look at the recruits that Texas is bringing out there. Look at the money Texas is spending to get these recruits out there. If Arch Manning is just half of what is advertised, I think Texas is going to be very hard to beat. I like the running game. I like the speed. I like the secondary. I think Texas, now they're not going to run the table because the SEC is too good. Texas may lose opening day at Ohio State. Maybe. I don't know. But I think once they're in the tournament, like you said earlier, Rob, just get in the thing. I think Texas matches up really well with anybody. They can beat you in a number of different ways. They can run. They can throw. They can be physical. I will take the Fighting Matthew McConaughey's at plus 650.
I like it. I think that's a good pick. I just don't know if Arch Manning's actually any good.
We're going to see.
Wouldn't it be wild if he stinks?
Like the only Manning quarterback that stinks? What are the chances of that, though?
Has anybody ever seen this guy actually play football?
I remember when he was being recruited in high school, right? Because his high school tape was like all over social media.
Yeah.
The pump fakes look just like Peyton.
Yeah.
Like he's got the skills, he's got the coaching, but boy, SEC is a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. And now throw in a non-conference game at the shoe. Good luck with that.
But it's the same thing like we said with all these other teams. You just got to get in the tournament. Once you're in, it's anybody's ball game.
So those are our picks. Let's see what our professional handicappers have to say. Because Rob and I, we're not professional handicappers. We're degenerates that do our homework. But the dudes that make a living out of this, we're going to find out what they think. We've got Kenny Britt of KB Sports and David Stephanoff of Follow Never Fade. They're coming up next here on the Degenerates Next Door. It's kind of week 2 of future bets, if you want to call it that, here on the Degenerates Next Door. I'm Jason Hammer, Rob Kendall alongside of me. Last week was round 1. We rolled out some college football futures, our picks, plus our professional handicappers picks. We're going to continue that, but we're upping the ante this week. This week, we are looking for national champions. We're looking for Heisman Trophy future bets. And one of our professional handicappers is Kenny Britt of KB Sports. KB, before we get into your Natty winner, your Heisman winner, this time next week, we will be talking about meaningful college football games. Might be degenerate games, but damn it, we're going to be talking about meaningful college football games, and it won't be too much longer from now. We'll be talking about coaches on the hot seat and college football playoff. I don't know about you, dude, but I'm pretty excited.
Dude, I'm really excited. I was going to open with that next week I get to give a college football pick for Saturday afternoon. I can't wait.
Right? I feel like a kid at Christmas time. Like, you know you're a degenerate when, like, you're a week away from something called week 0, which I'm not even sure if it exists or not. We've had that conversation, but I'm counting down the days, brother. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and there's actually a couple good games next week. 2 ranked teams, K-State and Iowa State, and Fresno State and Kansas. So there's a couple good games next week going on. I can't wait. Yep, I'm totally excited for that.
And I respect the college teams that actually schedule a tough early season game, right? Texas and Ohio State don't have to play each other. Now, I know the schedules are done years and years and years in advance, but I'm glad they are, because schools like that, man, even if you lose, it's not going to really matter all that much. You can still rebound if you run the table and still make the thing and win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, that's very ironic when we get into my Natty championship pick. That's going to come into the conversation, what you just said.
Okay, so before we do that, let me ask you this. In games like that, or maybe even some winnable games that some big team will inevitably lose, because that always happens early on in the year, what coaches do you think are already on the hot seat heading into this college football season? Who needs to perform well? And if you're going to fire a coach from a big-time program, whether that's Florida, whether that's Arkansas, or wherever, who do you replace him with?
Well, I think Lincoln Riley might be. He hasn't done that well out there. When it was shocking when he left Oklahoma, right? We were all like, "What?" But he's got to perform, in my opinion. I think him. I don't know. I would need to sit and think about that a little more. But Lincoln Riley's at the top of my list.
See, Billy Napier's at the top of mine. Billy Napier down in Florida. You've got a good quarterback now. Now, their schedule is brutal. It is unbelievably tough.
6 ranked teams, isn't it?
Yeah. And I will say this, though. Most of the games they play, not all, but most, they will have the advantage at quarterback. So there's no excuse that you don't have the right trigger man. We believe Lagway's the dude. If he stays healthy, Lagway's the dude. We're going to see what Billy Napier's got.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he would be number 2 for me then on the hot seat. But Lincoln Riley's got to be. They paid him so much money to get him away from Oklahoma, and he's not really done much yet. It just seems like it just seems like, I don't know what happened to them. Really, after Pete Carroll left, they haven't done much.
Because everybody else started cheating too, Kenny. That's what happened.
Right,
the playing field evened out because everybody else started buying their running backs cars, not just USC.
Everybody gets to pay everybody now. That's exactly right.
Hey,
go ahead.
I was going to say, let me run a name by you, because I keep seeing this all over my social media feed. He's staying active. Some people like him. Some people don't. Is there a place in college football for John Gruden?
Man, I think there is. He made a mistake. Everybody on this planet has made mistakes, deserve second chances. He's a football coach, Jason. You talk about, your guys like Andy Reid, your older school guys. He's just a football coach, a football guy, and football's better with John Gruden in it, and he needs to be coaching somewhere. And it sounds like he wants to coach in the SEC. Talk about hot seat coaches. I don't think Lane Kiffin by any stretch of the imagination is, but what about Alabama? They're not going to be very patient. They want to win national titles.
They do. I think Bama is going to be a lot better. Let me throw a tinfoil hat theory at you, though, real quick, okay? Keep John Gruden in mind. If Oklahoma craps the bed again, I think they may make a move. If Oklahoma fires their head coach, I think they steal Josh Heupel from Tennessee. That's the only job Heupel would leave Tennessee for is his alma mater. Even though there's bad blood there, they left on bad terms. But I think he would go back to be the head coach, which would open up Rocky Top. And there's a lot of ties to Gruden and Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, tinfoil hat. I don't think it's all that far-fetched.
Really? Well, you're the big Tennessee guy, and if a lot of times when there's a little bit of momentum, my mom told me as a kid, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
Then, yeah, that's always true. So that would be great. I would just love to see John Gruden coaching somewhere meaningful again. He's good for the game, and down at Rocky Top, man, that would be awesome.
I'd hate to lose Heupel, though. I mean, I like Heupel. What he's been able to do at that program, resuscitate it in a short time. It's a bit of a rebuilding there this year because of the crap show that was their starting quarterback that left after the transfer portal window basically closed. So it's a bit of a mess this year. I think you give him a pass. But, man, I think Heupel is one of the better coaches in that league, and he's not leaving for any job. But his alma mater, if they can somehow figure out an amicable way to get back together, because there was a bad, nasty breakup, I think he might take that gig, which opens up Knoxville, but I digress. All right, let's get down to brass tacks here, Kenny.
Here we go.
National champion, your national champion. Rob has gone with Clemson. I have gone with Texas. Where are you?
All right, well, I'm going to go up against Rob head-to-head here. A little bit of a surprise, but not too much. Number 10 ranked team in the preseason polls. I'm going with Miami of Florida.
Okay.
Let me tell you what. First of all, I've talked about Carson Beck about a month ago. They went out and got a total new secondary in the transfer portal. They got starters from Arizona, Wisconsin, Washington State, and Tennessee. So a whole new secondary of experience. They went out and got the Minnesota's defensive coordinator, the Gophers. Well, they know how to play defense in Minnesota. So he's their new defensive coordinator. They do not play Clemson this year. We've talked, every week we talk about, scheduling. Each year it's so important. We see Miami plays opening weekend at at home against Notre Dame, but that's week 1, like we just discussed. Even if they lose that, they get that out of the way. After that, if you look at their schedule, they've got Florida, who we talked about, but that's also not a conference game, and it's a home game, and they've got to go at SMU, which will be a tough game. Besides that, their schedule looks good. If they can beat of those 3 teams I mentioned, if they can go 2-3 in those 2, they're sitting really, really, really good. And they are at plus 4,000.
Good value.
They got a good coaching staff. Mark Cristobal, he was at Oregon a few years back. I'm on Miami.
Okay.
I really like them a lot.
All right. Now, for Heisman Trophy, Rob, he's kind of taking a long shot here. He got great value on Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame. His theory being that if Notre Dame can win that opener against Miami, every one of this kid's games is on national television. Everybody's going to see him. It's a heritage program. I went with Ohio State wide receiver. I'm going with Jeremiah Smith because I think the Buckeyes are going to win the Big Ten. I know everybody's drinking the Penn State Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
When it all comes down to it, big game James at Penn State will continue to do what he does best, and that's lose to Ohio State. Right. So give me their playmaker. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Who you got?
All right. Well, first of all, Brad's a homer pick. We don't do that on this show. So I'm doubling down on. I put this bet in about a month ago. I'm going with Carson Beck at Miami. Again, they don't really play anybody, so I think he's going to throw up some huge numbers against some meaningless games. I got him at plus 2,500. He's already down to plus 1,800 now. He's about like the 5th, 6th choice in most betting apps. But I want to throw out a name. Every year, the first 3 weeks of the season, somebody comes out of nowhere that the regular sports fan hasn't heard of to get into the Heisman race. And I want to throw out a name for everybody to watch. Kevin Jennings from SMU, their quarterback.
Okay.
He's plus 5,000. I'm telling you, he's going to throw up some numbers this year.
Now,
Keep
I
an
will
eye on
say,
this
Kenny,
kid.
in defense of Rob, and he's over here throwing his hands up, you can get Love at plus 4,500. He's going to get 20-plus carries a game on national television on a good team that, after the first couple of weeks, that schedule doesn't look as daunting. Plus 4,500 doesn't do anything for you?
I'll have to dig into that one more, to be honest.
Okay. Because
When's
Jeremiah
the last time
Smith,
a running back,
Smith man is
when's
plus
the last-
1,000.
Now Smith, he's a monster. The problem is, we got to see who can throw him the ball.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. When was the last time a running back has won the Heisman?
Man, it's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit. So yeah. Quarterbacks can just put up such crazy numbers anymore. It's hard for them to, same as the NFL. I don't think a running back's won MVP since forever.
Right.
And it's really hard for them.
And the key
honestly.
thing to point out here, too, is, your Heisman pick and your long shot pick, we're not saying these are the best quarterbacks in the league. It's just the
Right.
schedule, the situation, it's lined up in a favorable
Exactly.
way. Like, I think Nessmeyer might be the best quarterback in America. Obviously,
you took the words out of my mouth. I think he's the best NFL quarterback ready for the NFL. Absolutely.
I think Texas is going to win the national championship. That's my pick. If they do that, that means Arch Manning has had a good year. But the odds, it's not enough juice for me to jump on Arch to win the Heisman because he's one of the favorites. A kid
Right.
that I think could be a long shot, and I mentioned this earlier, Lenora Sellers of South Carolina. I love this kid. Their schedule on the back end is brutal. But if they only lose 2 games, they're in the college football playoff, and he's in the conversation. So there you go.
I love South Carolina. I love their coach, and I'm skipping his name, Beamer.
Shane Beamer.
Great, Shane Beamer, great coach, great family. South Carolina really turned it up last year, so that is a great pick, actually.
Anything else you got on your radar, Kenny?
Not real quick. I'll just make this last 60 seconds. Every week you pick up the ESPN, you see somebody else is in trouble for gambling. I want to just touch on this for a second. Legalized gambling is good for the sport. There are independent firms out there that monitor everything we do, everything. When Jason Hammer was betting on table tennis during the pandemic, they're betting on the Russians, they knew about it. That's how these guys are getting caught. How they're that brain dead to not understand how they won't get caught is I can't understand how. We're talking big names like Malik Beasley, Terry Rozier, and then other guys, like Jonte Porter and stuff. But as soon as there is a smell of something going on, it gets shut down. They notify the league. Legalized gambling is the reason these guys are getting caught. And gambling gets a bad name because of this stuff, but legalized, that word is the key, is the reason these guys are getting caught. And there is oversight after oversight after oversight on this kind of stuff.
Right.
And yeah, so it's been on my back burner for a couple of weeks now. And again, then I picked up the phone the other day, and Malik Beasley, now he got evicted from his apartment. He can't even make rent. And he's made $40 million in NBA.
Right,
but
of
he
course.
got caught gambling. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Gambling gets a bad name for stuff like that, but the legalized gambling is the reason these guys are getting caught, and there's nothing wrong with that. People just, I don't know, it's taboo to some people. But
well, I mean, it's just like alcohol, right? If you do it in moderation,
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a couple drinks with your buddies. Just because some moron gets a DUI and crashes into a school doesn't mean that we've done anything wrong.
Right, exactly. So I just wanted to get that out there. There's oversights everywhere on this stuff. So, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Where can we find your services, and how can we become a client?
All right, I am on Facebook on KB Sports, and I'm ready for next week. In 7 days from right now, I'll be giving a free college football pick, Jason.
I love it. I love it. KB Sports on Facebook. That's Kenny Britt, my man. We'll talk next week.
All right, have a great one.
All right, that was Kenny Britt of KB Sports. Coming up next, we'll get another national championship pick, another Heisman Trophy pick. It's Futures Day, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, here on The Degenerates Next Door. David Stephanoff, Follow Never Fade. He's next. We're talking futures. You know why we're talking futures today on Degenerates Next Door? Because next week we'll be talking real, meaningful college football games. And damn, that sounds like a great time to me. It sounds fun to say that. David Stephanoff, professional handicapper, the man behind Follow Never Fade. And David, I talked about this with Kenny a little bit. I feel like a kid at Christmas time right now. It's almost degenerate Christmas. I always say the first couple days of March Madness are degenerate Christmas, but man, when you get close to those first meaningful football games of the year, games that actually matter, it's kind of cool. It's an exciting feeling.
Thank you, Hammer, for having me. Yes, Hammer. Besides that Thursday of March Madness, the first week of football is one of the best times of the year. Fall, the weather's changing, and the futures are out. We a lot of people have outlooks on some of these wide open football, college football. I think college football is wide open. NFL, we don't know so far, but I got a couple futures here I like. I heard a couple of your guys. I think me and the mayor of Brownsburg, we match on our national championship. I think here, Hammer.
Okay, so Rob went with Clemson, and you're going to do the same?
I like Clemson. I think Clemson here plus 1,000 at the ACC. My Heisman winner and my national championship winner are going to both come out of the ACC. SEC football's too hard. I think to beat up on each other. I think. But
Right.
I think Dabo down there, he don't go to the portal too much. He keeps you don't see a lot of his players getting in trouble off the field. Dabo keeps a tight ship down there. I think he's got his quarterback in place for this year. I love his coaching style. They never give up. Clemson plus 1,000. There's a ton of value there, Cameron. I love Clemson at plus 1,000 to win the national championship. I think there's some other bets you could probably if you betting the national championships is a long shot. There's other bets, DraftKings, all these other these betting apps offer. To make the national championship, to make the playoff. But right now, I'm looking at Clemson plus 1,000 to win the Natty.
I'm telling you what's going to be a really great game to end the season. I know the final game is always rivalry weekend, and everybody looks at Ohio State and Michigan. They're the number one seed of rivalry games, if you will. But there's going to be a lot on the line with South Carolina and Clemson this year.
Clemson,
because I love South Carolina. Their schedule on the back end is brutal, but I think for the most part of the season, they're going to have the better quarterback on the field compared to anybody they play. Give or take LSU's game and maybe Clemson, but I love the Sellers kid at South Carolina, and a spot in the playoff could be on the line in that rivalry game at the end of the year, man.
You're spot on the quarterback position right there. They're two good quarterbacks. Both of them, Sellers probably going to be NBA or NFL quarterback. Spot on. Both those teams are almost unbeatable at home. That's what's so tough about those teams. That's why they're so hard to beat at home. Plus they play at South Carolina plays a little tougher schedule. But you're spot on right there with the quarterback. That game's gonna come. That's gonna be a hell of a game. The last weekend of the college football season. Them guys get more. They fight on the field, off the field in that game.
Right.
It's a wild game. But usually it's usually you take throw the points out the window there. Like it's no matter what the records are there. That's one of the best games. And both quarterbacks stay healthy. That's going to be a hell of a game.
Yes.
Coming down at the end of the season. With national championship national playoff implications to get in the playoffs, and definitely ACC. To get in the national Final 8.
Yeah, and man, last year it came down to the final, play. This year it's in South Carolina, the Gamecocks home field. So, man, that's going to be a good one. Now, let's get to Heisman Trophy stuff. We've been kind of busting Rob's balls because he's been a homer, and he took Jeremiah Love, the running back of Notre Dame. But to his credit, and again, he's over here giving me the finger, but to his credit, his theory was if Notre Dame can escape the early portion of that schedule. Early portion of the schedule's tough. After that, it eases up a little bit. here's a guy that is going to get, if you believe in this thing, the Notre Dame bias. Plus, every single game of his is on national television, which is important. I know running backs don't normally win this thing, but you can get him at plus 4,500. I think there's value with Jeremiah Love. What say you?
I think I love the Irish are going to be really good. Like you said, beginning of the season, they're going to be they got a tough schedule beginning of the season. I love the Irish real quick to make the playoffs. I know a sharp guy, aka my father, who put a wager down. The Notre Dame was minus 150 early in the summer to make the college football playoffs. Now 170. I think that's a great bet, by the way. I can't go down with Rob's pick on the Heisman guy. I mean, he's going to get all the carries. He's on TV. Plus, the kid's downright good. He's going to be a top 10 NFL pick. If it's how far that Notre Dame goes is how far he goes to the Heisman. But he's got a back in the schedule. They got Cupcake City the back end of the schedule. So people are probably going to forget about the tough games he had early in the year. But if he gets 100 yards every game, like he should, like maybe some 200 games in the year, that's good value. I'm looking at a guy from Florida State, Thomas Castellanos. He's 121 to 1. He's 121 to 1. I know it's a shot, but he's transferring from Boston College, where he threw the ball last year. He's playing for Norville and Florida State. They got Gus Malzahn as the offensive coordinator. He runs the ball. He throws the ball. I think the big favorite here for the win the Heisman is the kid from LSU. But I think the SEC just has a too tough a schedule week in, week out.
Yeah, Nussmeier and Arch Manning are kind of the 1 and 2 of the favorites.
They just tough schedule. They're going to have some losses and some. They're playing tough competition. Look at the ACC. They're top heavy, with Georgia Tech, Miami, Clemson. But I just think Castellanos has a shot to fill this role right there at Florida State. And they bounced back off a horrible season last year. Norville had these guys ready. They returned 11 guys on offense. I think Castellanos has a shot to win the Heisman 120 to 1. He runs the ball.
That's solid.
He throws the ball. He's going to be a great offense. He's going to be a great offense. And Florida State keeps winning. He has a chance. That's my shot there. Long shot.
Let me throw a name out there because, again, you're the pro. I'm not. I'm just a degenerate that does my homework here. I am just not buying Penn State is the end-all to be-all in the Big Ten. As long as Big Game James has the headset on, I will take Ohio State every time. And I feel like Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State, their wide receiver, he's their playmaker. You can get him at plus 1,000 right now. So, in essence, 10 to 1. If you can get somebody to get him the ball, and I think Ohio State will find a way to get him the ball, he's going to put up some numbers, man. I like it.
I was reading, I can't remember the kid for Ohio State. They got another kid for Ohio State who's going to play both ways, they're saying this year. Might be a real good one. Might be a sneaky one there. Ohio State, but going back to James Franklin, we've said this since last year, Hammer. James Franklin's coach and we're fading. If Carson Beck's the quarterback and we're punching him in the face. Those two things
Kenny Britt doesn't want to hear that. James, he's hitched all of his futures on Carson Beck.
We talked last year about Carson Beck has the most punchable face in football. We talked about that last year, and I'm going to stick to it. But James Franklin coaching, it's Fade City there, the big games. Big games.
This is why I love this show. We could talk about how a college kid that's half our age has a punchable face, and we're all okay with that. And I love this.
That all of us could ever think of combined, and we're making fun of him. But, hey, more power to him. He's doing what he can love, but he will never be in play. He won't be any good in the pros. That's for sure. That's why he's staying in college. But James Franklin, like I said, this Heisman's wide open. Now, I think the national champions kind of could get down to maybe 10 teams, but the Heisman winner, I think is wide open. I don't think it's these quarterbacks from the SEC. I think this could be wide open. They got guys at Utah is going to be awesome. Arizona State guys, a couple guys going to be awesome. It's wide open here. You might get a hot quarterback somewhere.
Hey, we got about a minute left here, David. You got any other action this weekend? I know we're talking college football futures here. What kind of action do you got coming up for those that want to play tonight or this weekend?
Hey, real quick, I've been to the Cincinnati Open all week at the tennis matches. I'm a huge tennis fan over in Cincinnati. I got a good juicy one for you tomorrow. Iga Swiatek, the number one tennis player in the world, probably the number one player we've seen in the last 5 years on the women's side. She plays Anna Kalinskaya. Kalinskaya is her name. She's plus 400. We're going to fade Iga tomorrow in the hot weather over here in Cincinnati. We're on Anna Kalinskaya. Kalinskaya is how you say it. She's plus 5.5. Plus 5.5 games with Iga Swiatek. But if you feel a little freaky like I do, you will put a little money line at plus 450 on Anna Kalinskaya tomorrow against Iga. It's tomorrow afternoon, Cincinnati Open, ladies tennis, 1 p.m. Have a great day. Thank you, Hammer. And shout out to Kenny. Shout out to the mayor of Brownsburg, Rob. And thank you again, Hammer. And don't forget to follow Never Fade.
All right, there you go. Future bets activated. By the time we come back next week, we will have meaningful college football games to bet on. There's no such thing as a week 0, but apparently there is. See if that makes sense. We're betting week 0 next week. Come on back Thursday. That's when we're doing the show. And then when the NFL season starts, we move college talk to Tuesday, NFL talk to Thursday. That's happening in September. But next week, business as usual. Join us on Thursday, and we're talking meaningful college football games. For Rob Kendall, for Kenny Britt of KB Sports, for David Stephanoff of Follow It Never Fade, I'm Jason Hammer. Good luck, everybody. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor.